So I'm going to talk about, well, I've heard about AI all year and I still don't really get what it does. I hear this kind of phrase all the time. I've been speaking to a few people today as well, and I know a lot of people are kind of dabblers, what I call dabblers. So they're using maybe a bit of ChatGPT, maybe a bit of Midjourney, and they're not quite sure what all the fuss is about and how it's actually going to help you in your role or help you achieve your goals or make you any money. So I'm here to kind of dispel a few of those things and tell you a bit about what I know about AI. So just a bit about me, first of all. I'm founder of a company called AI for Non Techies, which does exactly what it says on the tin. I talk about AI in a really non-technical way, deliberately. I think there's a lot of gatekeeping from techie people when it comes to AI, and you really don't need to be technical at all to get results. And as proof, I got $75 million worth of client sales using a $50 a month AI tool, which was pretty cool. That was a surprise when I was running my marketing agency. And now I'm on the ISO committee for cybersecurity and education, advise the UK government. I'm in Forbes a lot somehow. They must be doing something good. And I work with brands like Mitsubishi, Toyota, Google, Salesforce, and lots of other fancy sounding things. So it's all going well. I started actually running, a lot of people have asked how on earth I got into this. I ran a marketing agency for 5 years called Beasting Digital. And it was that 75 million client sales that I got while I was there at the time. So a client came up to me selling a £10 million thing. I've told a couple of you this story already, actually. They were selling a £10 million thing, so super high ticket item. And they were knocking on all these doors. It was Centrica. They were selling a battery optimization product, really strange, very niche object. And yeah, they were knocking on all these doors and they'd segmented and they'd done all these things. So they segment their audience by pain point, by job title, by industry, all of that sort of thing. And nobody was responding. So I said, oh, well, you need to be more personal than that. And I kind of literally did a Google, I won't lie, did a Google, found this AI tool. It was, at the time, it was Crystal Nose, it was called. It's still around. There's a better one now called Humantic. But this AI tool kind of got these digital breadcrumbs from all over the internet. So whether you've got a profile on a website, whether you've got a link, you've left a comment on a YouTube video, all of these little breadcrumbs we all leave all over the internet, it kind of pulls those all together and then creates this sales playbook for you specifically based on the personality that it judges you to have. And I thought at first, when I first thought this is not going to work, it works. £75 million works. And that got me all interested in all things AI. So I ended up getting completely distracted from my agency. The agency ended up winding down and AI for Non Techies has rocketed up as a result. But yeah, doing a lot in this world, but staying completely in the non-technical side. So just want to emphasize, you don't need to have any technical skills. I cannot code for toffee. I don't know how to, something will probably go wrong with this. I'll press the wrong button and won't know what to do. But tonight I'm going to talk about, so you said not to talk that way, I'm going to go this way, I'm going to go right round. What even is it? So many people come up to me and say, right, AI, I've heard about AI, it's kind of robots or something like, it's kind of ChatGPT, but a lot of people in conferences will kind of take me into the corner and go, Heather, what actually is AI? I don't understand what it actually is. What does it actually do? So I'm just going to briefly explain what that is. Where it's brilliant, there's some things it's so good at, but there's things it's absolutely terrible at as well. It is not a silver bullet. It can be, you know, I love AI, but it's also completely useless in many places. I'm going to tell you about 5 genuinely great AI tools that aren't actually anything to do with ChatGPT. And then finally, I'm going to tell you what I think is coming. You know, we've had a big year of AI. I'm going to tell you what I think is coming next year as well. So what is generative AI? So we've got this nice big circle. I try to make everything as simple as possible. So this is a bit of a timeline, like from here. So imagine the top of the circle is 1950. This is when artificial intelligence started. And it was a Turing test, Alan Turing and his Turing test, a computer trying to pass itself off as a human or a human trying to get a computer to pass itself off as a human. That was the very first kind of incidence of AI as we know it, but it wasn't even called AI yet. Fast forward a little bit into kind of 1966 it was, and we had our very first AI chatbot. So ChatGPT wasn't the first one. It was something called Eliza, and you can actually use it online now if you type in Eliza, by a guy called Joseph Weizenbaum. And it was a Rogerian psychotherapist. So it helps you with mental health, and you typed in your problems, and it responded back. And it was 66, so it kind of took up a whole room with it. But it was pretty amazing, you know. This technology had been there since 1966. So the 50s and 60s had a ton of exciting things happening. And so we're kind of moving forward into now where we've got machine learning. So 50s and 60s, great, loads of promise, 70s, 80s, and a bit into the 90s. It's known as the AI winter, not much happened. Then we started to have machine learning. And that is the kind of learning from past experience type of AI. That is your Netflix algorithm. It's your predictive text as well. So it's learning from past behavior. So imagine things like your email spam filter. So your email spam is always constantly evolving. It's always constantly changing and getting better. So therefore, your filter needs to do exactly the same thing. So that's machine learning action. It's a type of AI. Then we go forward another 10 years, and then we've got deep learning. So deep learning uses something called neural networks, and that's based on the neurons in your brain. And that's because we've got this huge pile of data. So every time we pick up our phone, every time we go to the cash machine, every time we walk past a camera, we're building this massive, massive pile of data. And what's the point in having it? All this data, if we don't know what to do with it, we can't analyze it. So deep learning was built to help us pull that apart and actually analyze and get insights from all this information. So that's another type of AI. And all this has built the reason that we're talking about AI suddenly loads now, even though it's been around since 1950, generative AI. So my business should probably be called generative AI for non-techies. So the reason it's covered your feeds, you're full of conferences are full of AI. It's all the generative thing. And generative means it generates something new, like an image, text, video, all of that sort of stuff. It's going to generate, and it can kind of also move that information around, summarize it, analyze it, enrich it, all of that sort of stuff. But at its essence, it's creating something new, which we haven't done before. It's valid where it's learned from past experience, then it's been able to kind of make decisions based off that, and then it's gone into generative AI. And right there in the middle, we have, I promise is the last terminology, LLMs. Large language models, that's your ChatGPT, your Copilot, your Claude, your Gemini, the chatbot version of generative AI. And that is what we have. So when people ask what we're talking about, and the reason that we're talking about AI all the time right now, generative AI. And this is the new thing, came out 30th of November, 2022 with ChatGPT, our access to it. An exciting date that was for me, it changed everything. So it's brilliant at some stuff. I wonder if she's going to start talking. She's not. OK. So it's really brilliant at some stuff. It's literally helping blind people see. It can diagnose, and I can't believe, whenever I read this, I still can't believe it, can diagnose diabetes with a 10-second voice note. I just find that unbelievable. It can create these, has anybody had a go of Mid-Journey? Yeah, you put your hands up. It's kind of... Okay, yeah, I'd say, yeah, most people have had a go Mid-Journey. There's stuff you can create in seconds. I've been using it for a couple of years, for probably a couple of hours a day for a couple of years, and I still think it's incredible. These photorealistic images, these crazy creative creations, whatever you want. Your imagination is your limit with things like this, and it takes zero skill. Just put a word in. You could put a full stop in and still get a really amazing result if you wanted to, or just visualize a concept or anything. It's the ability to create these cool things. We haven't got much control of it, but it's amazing. It's a very creative thing. We can create tunes. Has anybody used Suno? Yeah, there's a couple of people have used Suno. Suno's pretty amazing, isn't it? Yeah. Suno it's a free thing, and you can just describe a piece of music, and it will create a whole song for you based on what you said, with lyrics, with voice, with in whatever genre you want, in seconds. It creates two of them, actually. So I've been annoying all of my friends and family just creating songs about what they're talking about. Or somebody's hanging curtains. Oh, Sharon's hanging curtains, that type of thing. But it's really addictive, and you can do it free, for 3 of them free a day. But you can create all this new stuff. I personally, in my business, so when my agency closed, I had 5 staff. Now it's just me. I only started off from March, starting to bring people in now. But I make 1,000, and this was conservative as well, 1,838% ROI. And I based that on the UK average hourly rate. So I totted up what I pay for tools, and I totted up all the time I save. And it's so much time. It's unbelievable. And of course, let's not forget the $75 million in sales. That's my big thing. But let's have a look at this. So this woman here, I conjured her with text. I just described a person, brought that person to life, and gave her a voice. And the whole process took me about 3 minutes using HeyGen. And I just described a person. I said kind of early middle age, kind of all right, yeah. Black rimmed glasses, medium hair, slightly Scandi looking, warm, friendly face. So that's what I described. And I called her Madeline, just wanted to call her Madeline. Don't know why, I always like the name. And then this is her.
Happy Sunday to all of Heather's followers here on LinkedIn. I'm Madeline, and I was created by Heather from text. Up until a few minutes ago, I didn't exist. Bonkers, isn't it?
How weird is that? So weird, the voice matches and everything. She looks so real. And that's 3.5 minutes. Imagine if I had an afternoon on that. It's insane, and that was just one tool. I think is it free? Not sure if it's free, it might be free or 20 quid. They're always 20 quid a month, these tools, for some reason. Yeah, this is HeyGen. But you can do these things. I mean, it's exciting, but it's also terrifying, isn't it? You know, if I can do this, what can a bad actor do? But there's always a flip side to everything. But this is AI Heather. This is even creepy. I showed my sister this actually today before it came out, and she was going, "What? That's not you. What?" So yeah, this is me. Different hair, because I recorded this maybe a year ago. But yeah, so this is her. Good evening, everybody here at the Marketing Meetup. I am AI Heather. I'm Heather's digital twin. I'm a bit weird, aren't I? A little bit creepy. But actually, the lip sync isn't too bad. I'm kind of moving the way that I sort of move. I look like me, except I've got my old hair and I had a bit of a fringe. It's quite strange, isn't it? And I created this in around about 5 seconds the night before I'm due to give this speech. So what a strange world we're living in right now, eh? Weird, even weirder, isn't it? Really, really creepy. And again, no skill. That was 2 minutes of training video. So you can do these whole things where you train it for like an hour if you wanted to as well. And it gets even more, you can fine tune them and everything. But this just MacBook camera, just literally switched it on and spoke. So did you notice the eye rolls? She was rolled her eyes a couple of times. That's because when you're told to speak for 2 minutes, you can't think of what to say, so we're just like, and it's put that into its training, so it's kind of, she's got sass. Sometimes she just rolls her eyes at really inappropriate times, and I like that about her. So yeah, it's brilliant and all those things, but it's rubbish at so many other things, and I think it's so important to know the difference between the two. That is probably one of the best skills you can have in AI right now. So we're all familiar with the weird hands and weird faces and weird legs and extra things popping out of pictures and videos. They're getting away from that now, but it still happens quite a lot. If you try to create a bunch of people on Midjourney, they've all got the same face. Has anyone seen that? It's the same face. They all look related. It's really weird. I said earlier about the twin. If you create a group of people, you usually have somebody in the crowd that's the twin of the person at the front. So yeah, it was there in the Heather Marie one you created. There's all sorts of really strange things that happen. You can kind of get hands, but it does struggle with them. But this is an interesting thing. It lies. It barefaced lies. So there's a thing that, so it was a really cheap lawyer, and he's got to be a cheap lawyer because of what he did. So he used, so basically there's a guy who injured himself on an airline in New York. I think it was early 2023. So he goes to this cheap lawyer and says, I want to sue the airline. And the lawyer says, oh, yeah, sure, and runs off to his computer and says, oh, this new ChatGPT thing's come out. I'm going to save myself a few hours. And types in a query, gets all these precedents from there and goes into court. And then the judge goes, it's weird, I've never heard of any of these before. It's really strange. Can you go back and check them? And this idiot lawyer goes back to ChatGPT, not to his own legal knowledge or whatever reference he uses. And ChatGPT goes, yeah, they're all real, honest. Goes back to court. It turns out that not a single one of them was real. He gets sanctioned, and it's all over the newspapers everywhere as well. What an absolute moron. But it lies. It can lie that completely convincingly, and sometimes its entire answer is a lie. I've found from using it a lot, like way too more than is healthy. There we go, we got there. Way more than is healthy. I find it lies probably 10% of the time. It depends on the type of query you're doing, but there are reasons for that. That'll take me another hour to talk about. But it's got a really heavily biased data set. The thing that it's built on, its brain, is really, really biased. It's not a nice, clean, organised data set. It also can't count. There's this famous one, how many R's are there in the word strawberry? That went on to be a whole thing. But it can't ask it to write 100 words for you. It won't be 100 words. It'll be thereabouts, but it won't be 100. It can't do it, and that's really quite frustrating, particularly for editors, I imagine. But yeah, not that you'll be using ChatGPT for your editing. But yeah, you can't count. It's a really simple thing. You can create entire people with voices, but you can't count. They're getting around that with the new version of ChatGPT. If everyone's seen the O1, kind of the thinking model. It's called O1 because it's kind of starting from fresh. And has anyone seen these bloody LinkedIn comments, AI-generated comments? Oh my God. I get them all the time on my posts. It's really frustrating because it makes me look like I've sent out loads of bots to come and comment on my post, and I haven't at all. It's really annoying, and there's just something not human about it. It's kind of, we don't speak like that, do we? It's kind of, you wouldn't say it. It's usually a kind of respond to the post and ask an interesting question at the end, and it's just not a human-sounding question. So there's so much crap out there. There's a thing that Google put out actually at the top there. So Google's been really scared of ChatGPT because ChatGPT's got this new web search function, and there's also something called Perplexity. So Google are going, oh my God, I actually kind of think Google might not survive in the way that we know it. I think it's going to have to pivot. So they kind of rushed something to market, which was terrible, and it was their AI overviews. I don't know if you've seen them. You now get these things. So the first iteration of these was actually advice. This person said, oh, cheese is sliding off my pizza. Google advised, put some glue in the cheese. It also advised people to eat rocks as well. And what had happened was it had taken something from Reddit, an opinion, a joke on Reddit as fact, and put it into its answer. So one of the things generative AI can't do is differentiate quality of content. So Reddit comments are treated in exactly the same way as like a scientific journal, maybe. So that's something to be aware of. Another reason it will hallucinate, it's called hallucination when it lies, is that data, it doesn't really know what's good information and what's not. So it's just going to amalgamate it all and give you a result based on that. So yeah, it's rubbish at others. So there are 5 tools, not one of these is ChatGPT, that I recommend marketers use. Claude is the first one. Has anybody used Claude in this room? Okay, we've got a few, but not as many as Midjourney, and I suspect most people have used ChatGPT. Claude is a human-sounding one. If you are creating something that's going to be read by someone else, ChatGPT is rubbish at that. It's really not a good content writer. That is not its strength. It's really good at research and analysis and certain strategic work, but Claude is the copywriting one. It sounds so much more human. As somebody who used to be a copywriter, ran a copywriting agency, I feel like I know what I'm talking about with copy, and Claude is the one. I sat today, it's also really good at kind of strategic stuff and ideation. So I sat today planning my content strategy for next year with Claude. So I kind of asked Claude to be a marketing strategist, or content strategist, and gave it all this background, so set this character. We won't go into how to prompt, but set a character and gave it a really good prompt, and we went back and forth for hours planning my strategy, and honestly it's the same as me. I feel like I would have paid 500 quid an hour for that level of advice. It was outstanding. The results were incredible, stuff that as a previous content strategist would never have even thought of, and I've now got this piece of work that would have taken me weeks and it took me 4 hours. And that's the beauty of it. It's not instant, it's not about getting a quick fix, it's about stuff that would have taken you 2 weeks now taking you to 3-4 hours instead. That's the magic of it. It's that time saving. Yeah, not instant. Then the circle back. There's lots of these. There's Otter. It's AI note taker basically. You might have seen them in calls as online. People are kind of, they're being embraced quite a lot more. I used to use Sybil. Sybil stopped joining my calls. I don't know, it was moody with me for, I don't know, promoting the hell out of them, and then they stopped joining my calls, so I'm not going to promote you anymore. But yeah, circle back is my new one. I only got this because it just was voted the best or whatever, but I'm only a couple of days into it, so not sure yet. So far, so good. So they sit on your calls and they transcribe, so you end up with a video and a transcription, and sometimes some insights. But that transcription, coupled with Claude, is an amazing workflow. So I would say I'll record a sales call, or a client discovery call, say a client discovery, like an onboarding call. I'll record that, and then I'll feed it into Claude. I'll save it as a kind of PDF, save it as a text file from this AI note taker, then feed it into Claude, so use the paperclip there, and say act as a content strategist, pull out all the pains that client spoke about, all their problems, all of their existing things, all of their services, and come up with content ideas based on that real discovery call. Or if it's a sales call, it can be analyse my sales performance, tell me about missed sales opportunities, and here's what I do, match that with that. It's incredible. Those sorts of, when you can couple data with the power of clause. It's incredible what you can do. So yeah, any note taker is fine. I'm just using Circleback right now. Letterly is a phone app. Every morning, I'm such a rambler, I've got a very chaotic mind. So I walk the dog a lot. She's got a lot of energy, like me. And so whenever I'm walking her, I like to just talk for like 20, 30 minutes, and I just talk into Letterly. And it's just a little thing, you don't have to hold the mic down or anything like that. You just walk along, and I'll just talk about ideas that I might have had, or strategies, or even problems I sometimes speak about, like, oh God, I feel really overwhelmed, I haven't had a day off in 20 years, it feels like, working 15-hour days, all of that sort of stuff. And I'll just talk freely. And then at the end, I get to choose from a menu of things, and it will organise my thoughts for me into a coherent thing. It's just amazing. So it can break it down into themes. It can give you timelines. It can give you action lists. It's a kind of like a brain washing machine thing. It just sorts out your thoughts. And the way the input, the way you speak does not have to be in any way structured at all. It really gets just messy human thinking. And yeah, so Letterly's amazing because then I can separate it all out, feed it back into Claude, and off I go. So you start seeing these workflows. Perplexity, this is your Google on steroids. This is one of the biggest Google killers there is out there. Probably the main reason I think they're going to go under in the way that they are at the moment. And I work with Google at the moment. But Perplexity it's a research engine. It's free as well. So you can get, I think, 3 free pro searches a day. You don't really need any more than that, so you don't really need to pay for this. So you can use it in a googly way if you want. So you can go in and put your search engine in. And instead of clicking, you know the way you have to usually put something in, you have to click around. Instead of clicking, it will just give you an amalgamated, it will read all the stuff for you and amalgamate it into an answer that's genuinely useful. So it's taking out that part of the journey. It's really good, highly, highly recommend. I think it's perplexity.ai, really recommend it. You can also follow up, so once you've done your search, in that same chat, you can then follow up with questions, and then at the end, you can use it like ChatGPT and say, right, create me a blog based off all that stuff above, and it can do that. So it's ChatGPT meets Google, plus a load of other stuff as well. So I only told you like a bit of what it can do, but it is amazing. It's something I use constantly. And then the final one is Ideogram, not Midjourney, Ideogram. So if anybody's tried creating text on these AI image generators, you end up with like weird hieroglyphics and maybe the odd word works. Ideogram gives you amazing images, but it also gives you amazing text. So you're able to create really strong social media posts. Use Ideogram, another free one as well. I only use the free one. I think you pay to get faster generation on Ideogram, but it's amazing. So you can create all these different logos and different style. I just like creating signs for things and make really good posts. So that would be my image generator of choice, even actually above Midjourney. So those 5, highly recommend that you go and check them out. And with Circleback, just any AI note taker. But yeah, these things have changed my life. So I wanted to talk about as well, just finally, what's coming. I don't know how long I've been, actually. I've no idea. I'm all right. What's coming in 2025? So we've had a load of stuff happening in 2024. I think this is purely my opinion. The first thing is I think is custom AI teams. So I'm building, like a mad scientist, this team of AI people, AI characters. So I've built Webinar Wonder. She writes my webinar copy for me. So I've trained her on the type of copy I put in my webinars, the type of emails I will send out to promote those webinars, the landing pages for the webinars. She does all my webinar stuff, basically. Sends out forms afterwards. She doesn't send them out, she writes them. The action isn't quite there yet. I've got Lead Gen Leonard, who helps me generate leads. Who else? I've got Email Eliza. Loads of it. So I've got about 5 or 6 of them. I'm still building them all, but they're all built on custom GPTs or Claude projects. So they're versions of ChatGPT or versions of Claude that you can create yourself. Again, zero technical skill. Honestly, if I can build them, anybody can. And what you do is you add in your own information, you add in your own instructions, takes you half a day to learn how to do them, and then you've got your own little people that can do things for you. So now I'll just go to Email Eliza and say, I need an email sequence about X. And Email Eliza is going to know my tone of voice, going to know the usual sort of cadence I would use, what would work, my audience, my services. She knows all of that because I've put it into a knowledge bank. So I just instantly get this amazing thing. Always have to tweak it though. Like it always needs that little tweak, but when it's run through Claude, 'cause that was a Claude project, these characters, when it's run through Claude, it's pretty strong anyway. So it's really powerful. I'm saving more and more hours every day. So custom AI teams, I think we'll all start to have our own little mini agents, and I recommend you name them because it's fun. And then AI and automation workflows. So people talk about, I think, AI and automation are two very, very different things, but they work together beautifully. So a lot of people ask me questions and I often say, actually, what you need is automation, it's not AI. But I think when you put the two things together, so you've got things like make.com. Has anybody used make.com? Okay, we've got one or two, a couple of nods. Okay, make.com's amazing. So you can kind of, it's a bit Zapier, most people have heard of, a few more nods of Zapier. Automation is faffy, it's really faffy. It doesn't really work well with my brain. Make works a little bit better because it's horizontal, Zapier's vertical, and that's horizontal. I don't know why. But you can add in now a ChatGPT prompt into the middle, or a Claude prompt or something. So imagine your automated workflows where it will pick something up from your emails, run it through ChatGPT for you, then go and put it into a sheet and then email someone else. And you can start to build these entire things. And again, if I can build it, anybody can. Takes time though, automation is faffy. But these workflows are starting to build these automated tools, bring these AI tools into automated workflows. It just kind of gives it all a turbo boost. Next level realism, we just saw Madeline. Like that wasn't, for 2 minutes, that's crazy. So I think we're gonna have a little bit of trouble kind of differentiating between what's real and what's not, because has anybody used Google Notebook LM? What is that? It's insane, isn't it? Yeah, it creates, try it. It's a Notebook LM, we're talking about it, I think. So yeah, Notebook LM. I think it's notebooklm.google.com, completely free. You just go in and you just add in whatever information you want. It can be all of your knowledge bank, it could be any webinars you've done or any documents you've got, or you can just type something in. So I typed in, I've sat with my husband who's got no interest in anything digital, he doesn't even have a computer, so he's no idea what any of this means. And I just typed in some stuff, he's about to leave his job, start a dog walking business. So I wrote this kind of paragraph about how his wonderful wife, who knows all about AI, is going to help him out launching this business and how happy he should be. And then press play, because it creates a podcast of 2 American people speaking about this topic in a way that is indistinguishable from humans. It's so believable. And I just played the podcast and just watched him going, what are we listening to? Why is it talking about me? It's really fun to play with. But yeah, this realism, image and voice and video actually, particularly voice, I would say, is getting more and more real. I know a woman called Isabella Bedoya in the States, she's kind of heading up AI voice. The stuff she can tell you about is incredible. And yeah, people are, cold calling is now being done by AI, and people are more willing to speak to an AI than they are a human. I don't know what the psychology is with there, but she's getting amazing results from purely AI cold calling. So yeah, I think we're going to have a next level of realism. We're going to have to start identifying things. You know, there's content provenance. I don't know, has anybody seen the CR that's come up on LinkedIn images? It's kind of a few, yeah, not many, there's a couple of nods, but yeah, they're starting to kind of, when you click on an image on LinkedIn, you're going to start to see like a CR in the corner. You click on it, it's going to tell you whether it's AI generated or not, but it is opt-in, so not every platform will do it, so I'm not sure. But yeah, we're going to need to establish ways to work out what's real and what's not. But I think it's also going to mean a massive push for really human content as well, like, you know, videos. We always saw it with TikTok, kind of videos where you're just talking as a normal human and it's not polished, and you just, you know, those kind of beautiful flaws that humans have that AI don't. I think we're going to see a real rise in that type of content and a real rise in in-person events as well as a result. And then finally, AI agents. So it's kind of a bit like your teams, but they can do stuff for you. So it's not just about, you know, you give them a prompt or you build them and then they can work for you when you ask them to do something. You give them a problem and they will work out how to solve that problem, including having meetings with each other. So you can have a parent agent and then sub-agents. You train the parent agent like you would a manager, a human manager, and then you give each of the sub-agents skills and tools, and then you give a problem to the manager. The manager will go, right, I need you, you, and you. They go into, I say a huddle, it's a kind of humanising it, but they go into a bit of a huddle, work out how best to fix that, then they will fix it for you. So you could say, I want to grow my business by 10%. it's going to grab your marketer, your salesperson, your strategist, have ideas, come up with the ideas and then implement them. And that's the key thing. It's going to actually do them. So we need to be getting ahead of this. We need to understand the capabilities of this so it can help us. So your AI agents, you're going to hear a lot about that this year. Agentic AI, ChatGPT are going to release something, their own agents soon. So yeah, I'm desperate to get my hands on that and see what it can do. It's probably going to be quite primitive to start off with, but yeah, it's beginning to be able to do stuff as well as just help us do stuff. So yeah, so tonight, I don't know how long, I've no idea whether I spoke for 10 minutes or 10 hours. I apologise if it's 10 hours. But we spoke about what actually even is AI, what is this generative AI thing. I spoke about where I thought it was brilliant, where I think it's rubbish. Recommend those 5 tools. You know, if you try one of them, probably Claude. Claude I use all the time. And then, yeah, a little bit about what's coming in 2025. Yeah, and so if anybody wants to work with me in the future, I have my Heather's AI Academy. I've just changed the name of it, and I feel really embarrassed saying Heather's AI Academy. But it was voted for. Like, ugh. It was called the Learning Hub before, but yeah. I do boot camps as well. I'm doing a Become an AI Trainer boot camp. I know a couple of people are coming to that, which is really cool. And I do team training as well. So yeah, I'll be hanging around for just a little bit after this if anybody wants to chat to me. But yeah, best way to get me is on LinkedIn. But I take ages to get back to anyone on messages because it's a very busy time at the moment. And I've also I need to speak to Gus, I've hit my 30,000 connection things. I need to get out, I need to do a call because I can't accept any connection requests at the moment. So there's a top thing. So I'm trying desperately to delete people so I can receive connections. So if you just follow me for now and just give me a couple of days and then you'll be able to connect with me afterwards. So sorry about that. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful and thank you very much.